YouTube Pistons fans in particular, man, we have some good topics to talk about tonight. So welcome to the King and Deuce show, man. Deuce, what's going on?
What up, though? How y'all feeling, man? We appreciate y'all showing up and showing out as always. We have a special guest that's gonna be coming on with us a little bit later, but we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, looking forward to talking about these topics, bro, for sure.
Yeah, so we got a few news updates to talk about. We got some playoff basketball to talk about. We got some things to talk about as far as management goes for the Pistons. So should be an interesting night. First and foremost, we want to give a shout out to everybody who's in the comments, everyone who was here first. From Daryl to Elton to Cade, we see all of you guys in the comments, man. Blood Range Tears, man. What's up?
What's good?
Yeah,
Ryan,
you guys.
Mo, yeah, for sure. See
if you look at the times of the comments, they was here early.
Bruh, you know why? This is a hot topic.
Yeah,
it's a hot topic. We're gonna get to it. But yeah, I'm with you, bro. Let's start with the Celtics, man. So first of all, shout out to King. We had a little bet going on. You know, he's trying to get his record up as far as our bets. He 0-3. Was 0-3 until this series happened. But shout out to him. He picked Boston to win the series, and they took care of business against Dallas in the gentleman's suite. So shout out to them. I owe him a hat now. I'm gonna get him a hat. We'll get that settled. But yeah, man. So what were your thoughts on the series overall? Did it go how you thought it was gonna go? I know you picked them. Did you think it'd be a little bit longer? Was it gonna be a sweep? What'd you think?
So I tweeted this out last night. It went how I thought it would go, but I didn't expect it to be as boring. I was bored this series.
You were bored.
Yeah, this finals was not. It was not intriguing for me. It's actually kind of boring.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. One of the things, hey, we talked about it with Luka, right, in the past. One of the things, you seeing lackadaisical defense. And Luka's just letting guys run by. Jason Tatum probably wouldn't have as many shot attempts if Luka even tried on defense. Right. And this is something that we talked about a few podcasts back.
Right.
With him not playing defense consistently. You've seen him try a little bit, at least with the Timberwolves, but Celtics non-existent. And it started to get contagious with his team, man, because I felt like the very last game. You've seen his teammates also. They just were not giving it their all on the defensive side of the basketball, man. The Celtics gave them every reason to come back in that game. There's a lot of breaks in that game.
For sure.
Defense, when your shots are not falling like that, defense will help you get back into the game. So didn't take that opportunity. But just overall, the finals, they just were boring to me.
I feel on that, bro. I really learned about how good Boston really is. I have to give them credit. They're not a two-man show like how Dallas is and how explosive that two-man show is. It's still a two-man show for right now, right? I think they got exposed. But looking at Boston, bro, and you spoke to Luka not playing the type of defense that we needed him to play, or I needed him to play, right? For them to win the series, or to have a chance in the series. I think a big part of that is because everybody on Boston is an above-average two-way player. When you think about it. Drew Holiday, great on both sides. Derek White, great on both sides. Kristaps, great on both sides. Surprisingly, defensively, we saw, right? Him staying down, and staying disciplined. Jason Tatum, both sides. Jaylen Brown, both sides. So not only can they switch and lock Luka down and make it difficult for him on offense, they can also pick on him on the other side and make him play defense. So he's tired. He can't rest, on defense. There is no weak link. Everybody is, is above average scorer, their player. So they pick on him, and then on defense, they're strapping up and making it hard for him on the other end. So he's tired. And I think that was a big part of it. We talked about it earlier. His conditioning needs to improve. I think that needs to be his main focus this offseason. But all in all, I really learned that Boston was hands down the better team. I think Dallas has great individual players. Now, to their credit, they did come together, the last 5 months. So they haven't had a lot of time to play together. But Boston was a better team, hands down. They proved it.
Yeah. Well, I say, Luka being a superstar in this league, you got to take it upon yourself in the offseason, man, to improve, especially defensive. You got to stop with the beer drinking before, series. Take it serious, man. It's one thing when you're a big man like, the Joker, but it's another thing when you have the basketball in your hands most of the time, and you also will most likely have to defend the best player on the court.
Yep.
You can't slack on defense in that type of situation. And I think he learned that the hard way. So Luka definitely got some improving to do. Let's talk about another thing. Kyrie Irving, right?
Okay. Let's talk about
Celtics, him and the fans, vendetta. You know, you would have loved to see more violence, right? I just feel like he just couldn't get out of his head during this series. Obviously, the numbers are showing that, but I wanted to see more fire out of Kyrie when it came to playing Boston simply because of that.
Yeah.
And he just can't play in that arena for some reason, man.
You know what it felt like to me, bro? That's a great point you just hit on. It felt to me as if he was trying to endear himself to the Boston fan base, just from a respect standpoint. Because we know the history, and it seems like, and I heard him say in the interview that he's enjoyed this season more than most because it's allowed him to have that redemption tour, you know, with the league. So I think his mission, a big part of his mission this season was to get his image right with the media, you know, with the mainstream media. He doesn't want to be remembered in a controversial way. I think that's clear. And it seemed like he was trying to endear himself to the fans, even in his interviews, the things he would say, the things he wouldn't say that he could if he wanted to be petty. You know what I mean? He wasn't doing any of that. And it seemed like he was just trying to say, come on, guys, let's just be respectful and cool. You know, y'all can boo me, whatever, but let's just be respectful. You know, I'm cool. If y'all cool, I'm cool. That's what it felt like. And Boston was like, nope. The fans were like, nope. they didn't budge. And I think that kind of made him feel away. Just based off what I could tell he was intentionally trying to give them sound bites of we're cool. And they were like, no, we're not cool. No, stay over there. And I think that kind of got to him. I really do.
Yeah, I just wanted to see more violence. I want to see him burning some sage around the arena, you know, all type of stuff, man. But
yeah,
that just didn't happen, man, unfortunately.
Didn't happen.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, Deuce, was do you feel like the Mavericks kind of dropped the ball in that situation? You know, you see Luka and Kyrie, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at what Dallas had over there. You had Porzingis, and you also had that little guy from New York on your team too. You see what I'm saying? So it's when you look at that, it's like, would that roster have been better for them to have those two still in Dallas than the roster that you see now?
So you're saying
you have Brunson and Luka,
right?
You know, plus Porzingis.
Was anybody else a part of that deal? There wasn't a deal because they didn't re-sign him, so they let him walk. So that was it. Okay, so you're basically saying Brunson at this level with Luka, how does that compare instead of Luka with Kyrie?
I'll say this. A blind man could have seen that Brunson was ready to break out.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Yes, they dropped the ball on that. Do I think they had some fortune come their way because they had Kyrie to kind of take that role? And I mean, you couldn't have asked for anybody better to replace Brunson than Kyrie. But you know, that's in retrospect. But looking at it post Brunson trade or post a decision to not re-sign him and then to see what he does in New York. Yeah, absolutely. I think it was clear that they were trying to play hardball with him and not paying him the money that he deserved to be paid. And that showed immediately the first chance he got when he got to New York. We saw that it wasn't a fluke because he was balling even in the playoffs with Luka. So, yeah, I think they definitely dropped the ball over there for sure. They just happened to have Kyrie fall in their lap on good behavior. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like I said, man, I was thinking about that, you know, watching the finals, like, man, what if they would have had Brunson, you know, somebody that's more consistent? Because this entire time through each series, I've been mentioning that Kyrie's been inconsistent. Yeah. You know, and he really showed his head in this series, you know. So man, I have to think if you have Brunson and if you have a healthy or semi-healthy Porzingis, you're probably in a little bit of a better position. That's just me.
And I'm thinking too about how, because I'm thinking about a Gafford and a Derek Lively who didn't play with the Brunson. how much easier he would have made life for them along with Luka. That would have been interesting to see. Them two guys would have loved to have Brunson there along with Luka to feed them the ball. That would have been interesting to see, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
So I see a specific comment. I don't know if you got anything else that you want to mention for the Celtics, so I'm going to let you go if you do.
No, I'm good. Yep.
Okay, so this is a topic that I also know that you wanted to talk about.
Man.
So this comment here.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Unleash.
All right. Okay. So a couple things. I know there's been a lot of talk about Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. Can they exist? And I respect everybody's opinion first and foremost. Let's get that out the way. And I vehemently disagree with a lot, but I respect all. But as far as I won't say everyone, but a great deal of people, a great deal of fans wanting to punt on Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, the backcourt. I'm not ready to go there. And here's why. They technically just finished their second season together, right? But they've only played a whopping 68 games together out of a possible 164 between these past 2 years. So they played 57 last year together and only 11 the previous year because Cade got hurt, right? Out for the season. So everybody's jumping ship on them. And it's ridiculous to me, bro. Like, have we not learned anything from the NBA Finals? Like, just take a look at Boston, right? They've been maligned for the past, 7 years for not being able to get over the hump. Playoff run after playoff run, over and over and over. They just couldn't get it done. Everybody's saying, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, it wouldn't work. They don't fit. They need the ball. Their skill sets overlap too much. Yada, 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 right? And now, like, for context, before everybody loses it, I understand the situation is much different from ours. I get it. They've been a top team in the East for the past 6-7 years. They're contending every season. I get it. I understand. We've been at the bottom of the East for the past 7 years. I get it. But the point is that everybody was ready to punt on them. Mm-hmm. And I want to give a shout out to Jalen Rose, bro. A couple years ago, he was one of the few too that said, don't break them up. He said, do not break this duo up. Find a way to build around them. And a lot of people, including myself at the time, was like, I just didn't see it. But Brad Stevens understood that, bro. Like, instead of breaking them up, he built around them properly. It took them 7 years, right, of tweaking the roster, Marcus Smart, moving him, all these different moves, changing coaches, adding depth, putting in the right system with Joe Mazzulla, losing in the finals to Golden State. All these different things like contributed to them finally getting that chip. 7 years, right? It only took 3 with Brad Stevens, though, to transform that team. So shout out to Trajan Landon. Hopefully we can get it done, right? Mm-hmm. But that's kind of where I'm at, bro. Like, I understand it's easier to be patient with your team when they're in contention, like Boston. Mm-hmm. But I just don't think you can break up this backcourt after 68 games, bro. I don't know, man. Like, the Pistons need a lot of help. We understand it. The construction has to be better. They need spacing. Cade and Jaden, right? They got to continue to play together, learn each other off the court, on the court. They got to get that chemistry right. Like Jalen and Jason Tatum, bro. Like, they always call each other brothers. I want Cade and Jaden to have the opportunity to know each other long enough to build that kind of chemistry. It takes time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it often takes longer than fans want, but it takes time. I just don't understand why everybody is in such a rush. I understand the record, but come on, man. Like, it's 68 games. He haven't even played a full season worth of games yet. And everybody's trying to punt on him already.
So, I almost had a old king moment, man. I was about to go off, but I'm not. Listen, one of the words you said, construction, right? Let's say that after we see a team that's finally constructed correctly, you see what I'm saying? One of the things that Jalen Rose mentioned with that Boston team is the fact that what they needed at the time when he said that. And they finally got it right. My thing is, you mentioned how many games, right? When it comes to Pistons fans, we have a problem with one word: completion. We never complete a process when it comes to players. For some reason, we're the most impatient fan. And I don't want to hear look how long we've been here. There's teams that's been in the hole longer than us.
Right.
And they're still not as bad as we are in Detroit as fans.
Right. Exactly.
Let's see them, get a nice amount of time together, but at the same time, let's get some players here, some real players.
Right.
Some real examples, not
Yep.
some Corey Josephs. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Some real guards that can come in here, veteran guards, man. Some real veteran wings. Yeah. Let's get some real guys in here.
Some real guys in here, bro. Shout out to AB. Appreciate you showing up and showing out, my dog. Yeah, man. And see, like, it's funny. I was just watching a little bit earlier. I was watching LeBron versus Young Celtics, right? And it's just funny watching them then and just seeing how much they've grown from then. I heard somebody said in the comments, I saw in the comments, somebody said that they're not comparable to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum because they can defend their position. They haven't always been able to do that at this level. And they had vets on their team like Marcus Smart to teach them how to play defense. We don't have that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they're not a perfect fit, but they have a team built around them to where it doesn't matter because they can maximize your skill sets. You can even say, okay, defense, fine. You can even say Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. They're not a perfect fit, right? But they have a team built around them to where it doesn't matter because they can maximize their skill sets.
Deuce, one of the key factors that we're not talking about is you look at some of the coaches that have ran through Boston. They've had some good coaches over there.
Right.
Our situation is a little bit different here.
Very good point.
We're still waiting for that guy.
Right.
Hopefully, if Monty's going to stay like we think he is, hopefully he's in the right mindset. Hopefully we can get some things going. Hopefully we can get the right players over here. You know what I'm saying? But those guys had some great coaches at their disposal over there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, like I said, I agree with Elton. We don't have an identity. We haven't had one in how long? So we don't have a calling card at all. Nothing to hang our hats on.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it starts.
That's true.
You have to get an identity first. You can't become something without a damn identity.
Yeah. My thing is this, bro. You got to build around your young stars, bro, especially here. Stars are hard to come by here, man, unless you overpay them at free agency. And even then, their incentive is money. We heard what Coach said, respect, but we heard what Coach said. The same could apply to players who are coming here who have nothing invested here. Like, they're not going to come here because they just want to play for the Detroit Pistons unless there's something here. And that's what I think people are missing, bro. Like, you know what the biggest difference was, bro, between the Mavs and the Celtics? Jason Kidd, Luka Doncic, Kyrie, they all said the same thing, bro, in their post-game interviews when they were asked what led to their demise in the finals at the end of the day. They all said the same exact thing, bro. One word: time. The Celtics have had years. They've had plenty of time. That was the difference. The Mavs had 5 months to try to figure it all out as a unit in one season. Boston's been together, the big two, for 7 years. 7 years. So this offseason, I'm hoping that Trajan builds out this roster in a way that plays to their strengths. Yes, they have to get better in defense. Yes. Yes, they both have flaws. Yes. Yes, their games do kind of overlap a little bit. Yes. All those things could have been said about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown when they first got together. All of it. All of it. Our biggest need this offseason is shooting. Whether it comes from within, with the help of our new assistant, Fred Vincent, or whether we go out in free agency, get a couple of vets who can shoot the ball, that should be the focus. I can guarantee you, bro, every Celtics fan this morning will tell you that it was worth the wait. They don't care about them 7 years and not getting to the finals and winning. You know why? Because they just won. And this is the team that's been in the hunt and had their hearts broken year after year, being down on 3 to the Heat, winning 3 straight, having Jason Tatum get hurt in Game 7 and losing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we haven't sniffed a playoff run in 15 plus years, right? I get the urgency, but not at the expense of breaking up something that hasn't even been given a full 82-game season to figure out yet, y'all. Come on. Breaking up Cade and Jaden is like, that's the biggest mistake you can make, bro. I think Monty Williams, he's got to figure it out. And I hope Trajan Langdon is telling him that. I also hope, Trajan is going to go shopping this offseason for the correct pieces to put around these guys. And I hope the decision to keep Monty was contingent on him building around and playing those two. I'm done.
Man, like y'all are killing these comments, man. A lot of interesting comments. Man, make sure you guys smash the like button for us. Listen,
I mean, got heated, bro.
I see
Man,
a
oh
couple
man.
of comments, man. They just so when it comes to the situation we have currently in our backcourt, our backcourt needs certain types of pieces around them. We know that, right? Jaden Ivey needs those pieces just as much as Cade Cunningham does.
Facts.
For him to be the style player that he is, they need the correct spacing. They don't need guys crowding when he's attacking the basket too, because that's where he thrives. So, like I said, let's just wait. Let's just wait on that situation, man.
Great point, Victor Lyons. Steve, go ahead.
Point, Victor. Let's just wait, man. Let's wait and see. Let's give Langdon, a chance to do what he's gonna do. And let's see these boys, be put in a better position, because we just haven't seen them put in a great one.
Right.
Even you hear a few of the fans here and there, they mentioned the injuries on behalf of Cade, right? Played 60+ games in 2 of those 3 seasons.
Yes.
Right. But I think y'all get hung up on that one season.
Yep.
It's not the way that a lot of people make it seem. So yeah, I think we need to just let that go too. It's not like he's been having some devastating injuries.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, who's
100%.
playing all 82 games around here these days?
I'm about to start just now because of the incentives.
Right.
But before that, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, I said one of the key things that I think a lot of the fans also toss aside. Y'all got to forget there was a lot of sweepstakes, like the Wemby sweepstakes. We had a lot of pick situations going on too. So hey, tell a lot
of sprained esophagus on the injury report.
a lot of pinky toe injuries going on.
Hangnail. We all knew what it was. Everybody knew what it was, man.
Let's not forget, So that's pretty much where it is, man. So,
I mean, I'm just saying, bro. It was just to kind of circle back. It was tough watching Jaden Ivey year before last out there most nights by himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He was the only guy that season that really played 60+ games. A lot of our guys were hurt in and out. And the guys he was playing with, let's be honest, man, no shade, but they weren't NBA level players.
Nah.
And they were getting swapped in and out. In his rookie season, when he's got the ball in his hands, he can't develop any chemistry with anybody because these guys are coming. How many different rotations did we have? Remember, we had a ton of different starting lineups.
7 or 8.
Ridiculous. So you're gonna judge a young point guard off of that, a rookie guard off of that, who hasn't even fully come into himself as far as learning the point guard position. And you're gonna judge him off of that? He can't build chemistry with any of these guys. They're in the G League one day, 1 week, the next week they're back. You know what I mean? Like, it was a complete shuffle. You can't build any chemistry with anybody that way. You just can't. He didn't have his guys, and that's a big part of what I think people are missing. He was out there by himself, man. So yes, he has deficiencies. Yes, he has to work on a lot. Yes, absolutely. But I'm not moving him. No way. Not yet. Absolutely not. Too soon.
Yeah. All right. So moving along. Another topic has been, pretty hot these last couple of days, right? The news broke. Andre Drummond is looking for a new home. I know a lot of Pistons fans, including myself, wouldn't mind seeing Andre Drummond return to the Pistons. I would love to see it simply because he's a different player now, different mindset, much, much cheaper. He's a big need, to be honest. I would love to see that. Where my head at, when it comes to the situation is I don't think it's going to happen, simply because I think he may end up going to a contender. There's a lot of good options out there for Dre.
Okay.
So this would have to be something he's committed to, just coming home and saying, listen, I want to, well, he actually has mentioned he wanted to come home and change the narrative, make things right and everything else. But that was a while ago. It's a little different situation now. What if the Lakers come calling, Boston comes calling, anybody come calling? I mean, he has his picks, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's a little bit tougher for that situation to happen unless the Pistons offer him a little bit more money than some of these other teams will at this stage of his career. But he will be a great veteran and a great addition to, that front court, along with Duran, and to have Duran practicing against him, you know what I'm saying? Week after week. That'll be very, very good for him. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him.
Got you. I mean, cut you off, my fault. I'm torn, bro, because I kind of feel like Elton. I love Drummond as a player and a person when he was here. Got a chance to kick it with him for a minute. I think you did too. And yeah, right. Real good dude, man. And selfishly, I want him to come back, right? To see him in a role that is more defined for him, as opposed to being put in a position of trying to be a star player with not a great supporting cast around him, right? So I think he could help Jalen Duran a lot.
Yeah.
But unselfishly, I do want to see him get a ring.
Yeah.
He's bounced around a lot. He's taken a lot of criticism, a lot of it, brought on himself, but a lot of it not. And I think, he plays hard, man. And he's developed and gotten much better over his career, right? He's worked on his game. He knows who he is now. So I think it'd be cool to see him get a ring. Have him go somewhere like LA, help Brian get, number 5. That'd be cool. Something like that.
Yeah. So listen, hey, we just had someone special coming in, man. We got a special guest for you guys. Definitely been doing this thing, man. I mean, yes, if you don't know who this guy is, something's wrong with you.
Big time now. We little people.
Eric Vincent, man. Eric Vincent.
What's
going on, Eric?
Now for my self-esteem early, man. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that, man.
For sure. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. It's been a fun summer. It's been nice to unplug a little bit after the season, but now things are ramping up. It's a little bit more optimism going on with the team. They finally seeing some bit of direction. So it's been fun getting into the mode and everything, man. Getting back to covering something outside the sorrow we had to deal with last season.
Right. So we got to start it a little bit early. We hit on a few topics. We were talking about a lot of buzz right now with first we started with the Celtics. I wanted to get your take on that. Who did you have in the series?
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I thought the Mavericks were gonna come in hot. I thought Luka was looking like he was on a mission. And while Boston did a good job as a team, their inconsistencies with some of their individual players kind of made me a little suspicious with what they did. Now, granted, they got the job done. I can't take nothing away from Boston, but I definitely thought Dallas was going to come in a little bit more prepared than they did. And we just saw a lot of the inexperience and a lot of the growing pains that they really are taking on for the first time be on full display in the finals. There's no shame in that. Granted, I wanted to see a better series, but for their first time, for Luka's first time, a lot of the other younger guys, maybe Kyrie I'm a little disappointed in, but for the most part, I got to take my hat off to Boston. They took care of business for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of mentioned earlier about Kyrie, man. He's just throughout the playoffs, there's been spots where he's been incredibly inconsistent. And it's, when it comes to the Boston series, I was saying basically that I wanted to see violence, man. Him and the Boston's fan base, they don't like each other. It's all types of bad blood. I wanted to see more out of Kyrie, man. So I was kind of disappointed about that.
Yeah, it looked like he was stepping into like that leadership role and in like the dependable veteran. As we've seen him like really through his career as Uncle Drew, he was the young kid that was riding shotgun to a lot of stars. Now, granted, it's nothing wrong with that, especially with who he was playing next to, but we definitely thought he was going to show up and rise to the occasion a little bit better than he did. And it was a lot of it wasn't even just like the inconsistencies. He was just bad really for the whole series. And I was kind of shocked to see that more than anything out of that series.
Yeah. Kyrie, for me, I think it was just two factors, bro. I think it was the Boston effect for sure. Still bothering him, obviously. And I think the other thing too is Boston has so many above average two-way players. They make you work on offense and they make you work on defense. Derek White, man. I mean, Drew Holiday. Coming into the season, I thought Drew Holiday was better than Derek White. Now I'm not so sure. It's crazy. Like Derek White is very good, man. And so I think the fact that they made him work on both ends really affected his offense, especially.
It's amazing what happens when you put the right veterans around.
Right.
That's all you need, right? That's what he's sitting there waiting for. But they reminded me a lot what the Pistons did in 04. I mean, we know Tayshaun got a lot of credit for how he defended on Kobe, but they were able to throw Lindsey Hunter at him, or even Rip, who was a super underrated defender when he was playing. Like, they had the ability to throw bodies, and we saw that work with Boston as well to tire out Luka and put pressure on him to make him guard too. And when they fouled him out, you saw the difference. Like, Boston was just very prepared. They exposed them as a young team that they are. Hats off to them. They did a great job that series.
They did.
Deuce, one thing that we didn't get a chance to mention earlier.
What's that?
And I want you to kind of talk about this because we talk about it a lot. Jason Tatum in general, man. Jason Tatum in general.
So what have I been telling y'all? So, like, I'm not going to do the I told you so thing, but yes, I am. So I've been saying forever that I just nothing against Jason Tatum, man. He's a fine player. He's a fine player, very talented player. I just always said you're never going to win a championship with him as the guy. I've been saying that for years, and I think it kind of proved true. Down the stretch of the last game was funny. I'll get to that, but I always felt like in the clutch, JB is the guy. Jaylen Brown is the guy. When they lost, he was the guy. When they won, he was the guy. And I think that's clear that he wants that moment. It doesn't always feel that way for me with Jason Tatum. And I feel like Jaylen Brown, I can rely on him game to game in a series. He may not go for 30 every game, but he's going to give me at least 20 every game. You know what I mean? It's not going to have these Anthony Davis high and lows that I sometimes got from Jason Tatum. So no shade to him. It was just the fact that he would always wear the purple and gold wristbands that looked terrible on a green and white Boston. It just did not make any sense. But it was the fact that I just felt like he was trying so hard to be Kobe. He was trying so hard to be Mamba. Yeah. And last night he was trying so hard to be KG, but that's another story. But it just felt like he was trying to be Kobe. And I'm like, bro, you're not Kobe. Like, stop. Just pull it back just a little bit. That's my only thing with Jason Tatum. So I'm happy he got a ring. I think he deserves it. His team deserves it. But I'm not ready to put him in that category with those guys because I don't think he is ever going to be in that category with those guys, and that's okay. But I need him to chill a little bit on that Kobe stuff.
Eric?
Yeah, listen, man. Tatum is, while I do agree with what you're saying, I do think he deserves a little bit more respect because while you rank guys in the league, there's probably like 10 you can name off rip that he's not better than. And that's okay. That just shows the talent that they have in the NBA. But what I was impressed by with him is what I wanted to see from like Anthony Edwards. I don't want to say he struggled, but he wasn't as polished when he had to deal with it. So Tatum didn't have his shot working for a lot of the series. And that's okay because they were throwing doubles at him. He's getting the best defender. Like, that's normal. And for a young player like him, granted, it's still crazy to call him a young player, but in this spot, again, we saw the maturation where, okay, my shot's not working, but I'm not going to be Russell Westbrook and take you out of your rhythm. I'll let my teammates get theirs, and I'll help out with other ways I can. Tatum's still a good defender, a good rebounder. He worked on his passing a little bit better. He's cut down on his turnovers from what we've seen in the past. And to me, I appreciate that. Like, granted, like people always put him up there with like in the Luka conversation and whatnot. Luka is regarded as the better player, but you see the differences in some of the areas that Luka still struggles with that Jason Tatum is starting to figure out. And I think he deserves a little bit more credit with how we're seeing him grow and how he plays with his team.
Right, yeah. So I'm not taking any credit away from him. I just don't think he's going to ever win a championship as the guy. I don't think that's disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Like, because think about it. Most people thought before this series or maybe before the finals that they always thought Jaylen Brown was the second guy. And nobody thought that was disrespect. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of put Jason Tatum in that spot. And I don't have him in that upper echelon. And that's kind of my thing. I feel like he kind of got the praise for that prematurely before he was able to get it done. He got it done. You know what I mean? But I still kind of want to see Jason Tatum. I feel like just from, and look, Kobe did it with Jordan, right? I get it. But I feel like the gap between Kobe and Jordan is a lot smaller than the gap between Kobe and Jason Tatum, if I'm being fair. And that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah. JT got to stop being so light skinned, man.
Whatever,
I
man.
Violence, man.
I knew he was going there. Eric, that's exactly where he goes every time.
I need violence, man. If you wear Kobe shoes, you wear wristbands, bro. I need violence, bro.
Yes.
I need you to be the baddest MF on the court.
Yes.
At all times. You know what I'm saying? JB, he does hood rat things with his friends. You know what I'm saying? That's what he does. And, you know, like I said, I admire that the most. I think, you know, at the end of the day, the X factor for the Celtics was not only the fact that they had the right veteran guards, but that front court. Porzingis, for what it was worth when he did have an opportunity to play, and Horford's effort out there was big time for the Celtics, man. It was big time for them. So, like, you know, what Eric mentioned, man, you know, when Jason Tatum didn't have it going, he found teammates.
He did.
He found other teammates. He did other things out there on the court, and that's what you want to see. It's not always about who can score 30, 40 points, and, you know, it's about team basketball, man. Right. And that's what you've seen from the Celtics, but not so much from Dallas. Dallas thought it would be easy, and nah.
Now I will say this to his credit, because I'm not a Jason Tatum hater, nothing like that. I actually like him as a player. I like watching him play. I will give him credit though with this. I can tell that he has been watching Kobe. I will give him that, because both of you guys mentioned it as far as his You guys both mentioned it as far as his shooting not being there for a few games. It took me back to Game 7, Boston, LA, in 2010, when Kobe shot 6 for 24 in Game 7, but had 15 rebounds. He still found a way to impact the game. So that was kind of reminiscent a little bit of Jason Tatum, because he found other ways. Like you said, Eric, he's grown. He's not going to try to beat his head against the wall when he doesn't have it going. So to his credit, I will give him that growth, because he has grown a lot. I was just watching them against the Cavs and LeBron back in 2019, I think it was, or 2018. 2018. And the growth, man, is ridiculous from both of them guys. Seeing where they were as young pups and seeing them now is like night and day. So shout out to them for sure.
For sure, yeah. I think, like, while he may not have been like the alpha scorer in this series, I still look at him as their best player. And I think we saw, while we didn't see the Mamba mentality type takeover in terms of closing out the series, I was more impressed with, like I just said, with the other like aspects of the game that he's able to build on and use instead of just forcing it. Like, to me, that's a sign of a young player like struggling, like, oh, I gotta get mine. Like Jalen Green, we see a lot of times when he's out there and just not working. Like, we don't want to see that. And to me, I kind of look at it like a little bit like Cade. While even if Jason Tatum isn't the best scorer in this series, to me, he's still their best player. And there's a world, like, if we fantasy booking, let's say somehow Devin Booker ended up on the Pistons. And he may not be the best scorer at that point, but is Cade also still at that point the best player because of other things that he brings? You can make that argument. So
you can make that argument.
I think Cade did a good job of like kind of expounding and showing other parts of his game just to help them get to where they needed to go. All he had to do was not mess it up, and I think he did a good job of that.
Yeah, he did. He didn't mess it up. He didn't mess it up for sure. I feel like sometimes we definitely. Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's the difference between 2024 and 2022 when it comes to him. And I think that experience is what helped him to get to this point. I think he kind of needed to go through that to know what not to do next time. And he showed it.
So I got a couple of rapid fire questions for you. Just give some quick answers so you can catch up to where we were.
Okay.
This topic, right? The Cade and Ivey coexistence. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, man. You know what? This may not be like the sexiest answer, but I have to be fair. I don't think we have a fair answer yet. Like, I just really don't think we've seen enough. I feel like with Cade getting injured his first season, with Jaden Ivey, for whatever reason, coming off the bench in favor of Killian Hayes, starting off on a bad foot, Like, I just don't think we've seen enough to definitively make a decision yet. I understand people are sitting there like ready to think about these young pieces to kick off and who can we trade and whatever. I understand the impatient window that fans have, but I feel like we don't have a lot of answers to some of these questions yet. Now, we know how these players need to get better. And yes, we do need to see these two work better together on the floor. They both need to get better defensively, work without fouling or defending without fouling, cutting down on turnovers, working on efficiency, finishing at the rim, and moving without the ball, which to me, I think stood more to coaching. Monty has to do a better job of getting these questions answered for us. I don't think we have an answer to that. I know this is a rapid fire. I'm not trying to overkill
this
the answer, but I just don't we don't have an answer yet. We don't have an answer yet. Bro, I really don't think so.
We said, well, I don't want to speak for you, King, but I went on a rant before you got on. I went on a little mini rant, and I was saying the same exact thing.
Yep.
They have played a whopping 68. Bro, man. They played 68 games together out of a total 164 possible. Mm-hmm. What are we doing? like, you're ready to punt already? It just doesn't make any sense to me, bro. Absolutely not. And I think like we just saw a perfect example of how patience can pay off. I know it's not a perfect example with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but it took them 7 years. They're not a perfect fit. Mm-hmm. They didn't come into the league as lockdown defenders or top level defenders. It didn't happen. They needed to learn. They needed time. They needed pieces around them put in place, vets that have been there before. You know what I mean? So like we don't have that. We have not had that. So how can you judge these guys without any of those variables?
James Edwards couldn't have said it better with fans not being able to stomach a rebuild. Now, while we sit up here worried about wins being the end goal, there are some things you can look at with these players. Like, think about what Jaden Ivey's jump shot looked like when he came into the league compared to what it looks like right now. Think about Jalen Duren coming into the league being a 50% free throw shooter, and then this past season he's over 70%. That is unbelievable at his age in his second season. Like, those are some things that people can look at. Cade putting up all-star numbers, finding a Fontecchio, like finding things. Because granted, while you don't have wins to look at, you got to pay attention to the fine details. And people don't want to do that for Piston basketball, but that's why we sit here on these platforms and talk about it.
Facts.
Because we saw the growth, and I think there is opportunity for these to grow. Like, we saw Cade and Jaden and Ivey play great in that Portland game on the road where they got to win. 2 ball games against the Pacers together. Like, there have been flashes. Just give it some time, and I think we still need a little bit more time to get that solidified answer.
Absolutely, bro. So just to kind of reiterate what we had talked about earlier, one of the biggest differences, other than just being a better team, the biggest difference between Dallas and Boston, they asked Jason Kidd, Kyrie Irving, and Luka Doncic the same question, right? At the end of the day, what was the biggest variable or biggest difference between you guys winning and losing these finals? They all said the same thing, bro. One word. You already said it. Time.
That's it.
He said, we've been together 5 months trying to figure this out since we got these guys, PJ Washington and all these different guys. And they've been together 7 years. It takes time, man. If you're going to build it out right, you have to let it play out. And you can't judge Jaden Ivey, bro, as a rookie. We were just talking about this. As a rookie, bro, lost his running mate, the best player in the team. 11 games into the season.
Yep.
Right? And that season was, I think we had 27 or 28 different starting lineups. So you're asking a rookie guard, not point guard, because he's still learning that position, a rookie guard to come and play point guard when you're shuffling guys in and out of the lineup. 1 week they're in the G League, the next week they're back. How do you build any chemistry? How do you know where guys like the ball? How do you know anything? How do you know guys' timing? You can't even have conversations with them because you don't know if they're going to be playing with you the next night. So and you're judging a rookie guard off of that, and he still gave you 15 and 5 as a rookie? Come on, man.
In a role that he's not used to as well.
In a role that he's not used to as a rookie in the leagues. Getting used to the NBA off the court. Getting used to playing 82 games and not 30-something. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole nother world, man. It's a lot for a rookie guard to deal with. So let's give him time with our best player. Give them time. Let them have one season. Bring Arnie Kander back, as somebody said. Make sure they're both healthy and have them play a full season, 60-plus games. Let them build. Let them cook.
Boy, who would have ever thought there would be a time where King didn't have to preach patience? Everybody else is. This is beautiful.
We got your back, bro. We got
this,
shoulders on this one.
You already know.
this is beautiful.
Man.
All right, man. I'm gonna move forward to the next one, man. Andre Drummond. Do you think this is still even a realistic thing?
Yeah, I think it's possible. We all know that him and Gorse had a great relationship when he was here. Now, obviously, it's not going to be easy because they still have a pretty clunky depth chart when it comes to the big man spot right now. So, we've heard rumors and we've seen reports about the Pistons being interested in going after like a Nick Claxton. And great, Deuce, I know how you feel about that. We don't have to get into it. The point is that
all right.
if they have that interest in going to look for a veteran that can start, then you got to reshuffle and rethink plans with Jalen Duren. And again, while I do like Drummond, and I do think the fit kind of makes sense, because I tweeted about it. I said it would be a good idea to bring him back, but honestly, I think he'd be a little better suited somewhere else. Like if he were the backup for like maybe the Celtics, if they needed a backup big, it would make sense. Like where a veteran team is just like a piece away. Maybe like the Timberwolves need a backups or something like that. Like he would make sense at a place like that. When you go to the Pistons, you are expected to do more. And we shouldn't be like, remember when Ben Wallace came back the second time around and he was starting playing damn near 30 minutes a game, knowing he shouldn't be doing that in his career at this point. You should be having people in front of him that he can help grow. That's what we would need from Drummond. So if you're going to be relying on him to do more than just being like a veteran to help these youngs grow, I don't really want to see that. I would rather let him go to a contender at that point. But again, I understand the argument, but I think he'd be better suited with a veteran-like team.
Yeah. And, that's pretty much, that's where we were earlier. I mentioned teams like Boston. I mentioned teams like the Lakers. All these options that he have. Deuce will be right back. He having some technical issues right now. Yeah, I totally agree. I want to see him come back in a role where, you help him with the development of Duren. You showing him the way. You're much more mature now. You've experienced everything it is to experience. To have a veteran, to add a veteran like that to the front court would be big time for the Pistons. So his relationship with Tom Gores is the only reason I could see that even being a possibility right now. On the other hand, when it comes to the veterans, man, who's your guy? Do you have a certain guy that you just absolutely want the Pistons to add to this roster that you think, is just monumental to their growth?
There's one guy, and again, it's not the sexiest name because if they have to go get a bigger name, they got to do it by a trade. But one person at the not front court, but their backcourt rotation, or even they're playing at the three, I really like Najee Marshall with the Pelicans. I feel like we're going to see Langdon go after a lot of guys because we see this when new regimes come in, they like picking off, their old tree. That's very popular for them to do, and it's already we're seeing it happen right now with Fred Vinson as a hire, which was phenomenal. I can't overstate that enough, but I really think he will make a lot of sense. I think he's a good shooter. I think he's a player who with a bigger stage, even with a team like the Pistons, it would make sense. It's kind of like Fontecchio to an extent, because if you put like that kind of responsibility on him to be better, and again, he doesn't have to be a star, but if he can be one of your go-to knockdown shooters, one of your number one defenders, I think that's a perfect guy to have. He plays well off ball. He gives you some versatility around to give Cade Cunningham as a scorer in terms of who he can pass and feed to, because he doesn't have a lot of guards or other shooters that he can rely on right now. I feel like he would be a huge add. I'm really high on him, and I think the fit makes a lot of sense.
Hey, I totally agree with that. I would love to have Najee, man. To be honest, I asked him, Deuce, who's the bona fide guy? Who's a guy that you would love to see come here? That would just help this team out tremendously. Do you have a guy in mind that you just absolutely want to see in a Pistons jersey?
I'm seeing a lot of CP3. I wouldn't mind that, but I'm looking for something more on the court. I think he'd be great off the court. As far as on the court, I like Najee too. But before I get there, I kind of want to want to backtrack a little bit to Nick Claxton. I'm not a big Nick Claxton. I do like his game, right? But I think my question for you, Eric, is how much are you trying to pay him?
I wouldn't pay him. I'm not gonna hold you. I don't. He's great. He's a good player, but you traded up for Duren. You don't have the luxury right now to just quit on him. And if you do, you have to get somebody that offers more than just a big who can protect the rim. He's great at that, but he gets rebounds, but so does Duren. And you're hoping that he can develop into that over time. But I wouldn't pay him.
Yeah. No disrespect. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm on the same boat. For me, it's just Duren and Nassar, for that matter, kind of fall in the same boat with Cade and Jaden. It's the same thing. I mean, I don't think we've seen enough from all these guys together yet. So to me, adding a Nick Claxton would kind of just stun his growth. I heard people say, it would help him, but I think what would help him more than anything is being on the court and just learning on the court. So yeah, I'm not a big proponent. Okay, I wasn't sure if you were a fan of him or not, so I just had to check in real quick.
I've seen your tweets. I know very well how you feel about this man.
He's not a bad player, man. I'm not trying to pay him when we got a Jalen Duren, man. Right.
You gotta see what you got in him right now.
Yeah. So I would say I do like this pick here. Kelly Oubre. I like his game, man. He doesn't last offseason. No, me and Kieran talking about that. He kind of gives you a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? He kind of reminds me of a modern day Tayshaun with a little bit more offense. He's not the defender. I'm not saying that, but a lefty, reliable jump shot, right? Good. He's not Tayshaun defensive. I'm not saying that at all, but he just reminds me of his kind of build. Like he's reliable player. He's not going to score a ton of points. He's not going to get a ton of assists. Not going to get a ton of rebounds, but he's going to do a little bit of everything for you. And he's steady. He's a steady player, and he's got a lot better over his career because he was very raw coming into the league. So to see him more polished now is very encouraging to see.
Yeah. So, changing the forecast a little bit, right? According to the comments, I've been seeing a lot of comments here and there. Fifth pick. First and foremost, I'm gonna start with you, Eric, because me and Deuce, we've talked about it in the past.
Yeah. The floor is yours, bro.
Do you first and foremost see us keeping this pick? And if you do, is there a guy in mind that you can see us picking with this pick?
I think the smoke is true around Cody Williams. I think they are high on him. I think he offers a lot of upside, and I think he fills an area that makes sense. We've seen Langdon go after the guys that have his kind of mold. He's a good defender, has some room to grow. He's kind of skinny, but I think he has room to grow in his position as a three. I think he's a great depth guy to have next to an Asar Thompson, especially a guy who can shoot. So, I mean, who better to learn from for a guy like Asar than a guy who can shoot like Cody? I think he offers a lot. I think he did a really good job in Colorado. I was impressed with a lot of tape that I watched on him. Didn't watch a lot of his games, but I've followed up in some of his clips and other, things that I've watched online. But I think it still hasn't sunk in that they pick it with the number 5 pick.
I know,
but
bro.
I can see them getting aggressive with it. I do think there's a world where they try to get rid of it and maybe they don't come back with anything. And to me, I think that should be the standard for it. If teams are saying no, they say no. But the Pistons need to be aggressive in trying to make some magic happen with the resources that they have. And I think the 5th pick is going to be one of those biggest tools that they use to try to move around.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of research on Cody Williams, man. I wouldn't mind that at all. Like I said, the pick makes sense. It makes a lot of sense for the Detroit Pistons. 6'7", man, 7'1" wingspan, can shoot the three. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I wouldn't mind that at all. I'm one of the guys, that wants a player similar to that type of build. I was on the Brandon Ingram train. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mind seeing Brandon Ingram here. So, those are the positions that I'm focused on. It's all front court, you know what I'm saying, with me. I'm done playing the guard game right now. It's just front court, you know what I'm saying? I'm small forward, power forward, center. That's it for me.
Go ahead.
Not to jump around and not to cut you off, Deuce, but you
What's up?
being the king of patience, what allured you about Brandon Ingram, dude?
Well, I mean, I do think we need some veteran presence here. We don't have that at all. And he hasn't really done much as far as in the playoffs, but it would be nice to see, something other than 8 eyes on Cade all the time or 8 eyes on Jaden Ivey all the time. Just having another offensive threat out there to open up the floor a little bit for those guys is kind of what I thought would be nice for them. And that's just like, we got to make a move, right? So my only thing with him is just his health. That's what scares me about Brandon Ingram. Can he stay healthy? Because we already have enough issues, right, with neck injuries and the past few seasons with injuries. So we don't need to add anything more to that. So, but I think he would be a player who doesn't need the ball, right? He can get a bucket when you need him to. He's not going to be the go-to guy necessarily, but he can get you a bucket on his own without any help. He can get you in the post, off the dribble, whatever. So I think having that option out there on the floor with them will make things a lot easier for them. And I think it will create opportunities too for putbacks and things like that under the basket for a guy like Jalen Duren, because you know that Ingram is going to bring a lot of attention, and he's going to make it easier for that type of situation for Jalen Duren. So I really think he'll be a good player that would kind of come in and fit, kind of fit a lot of holes here. And make the game easier for those guys.
I'm on a different side of the spectrum with Brandon Ingram. Wouldn't mind having him here. But at the same time, I know my team. I know the Pistons. And when players come here, they get the ball a lot more. I think he gets the ball lot more, to be honest. I think he will see the ball in his hands a lot more, which I don't mind as long as he can stay on the court. I'll argue with anybody, and say that some of the best rhythms and some of the best times I've seen Cade on the floor is when he was off the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I would not mind that. Letting Cade roam free, letting Ivey roam free. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not saying he's just going to be our primary guy handling the basketball, but somebody who can take the ball out of those dudes' hands at times, especially at the end of games, and slow things down and show them how it's done. That's what I'm looking for from my veteran.
Yeah. So do either of you think he would do a better job of that than Bojan did last year? And if so, why? If not, why not?
Go ahead, Eric.
Wait, who? Brandon Ingram or who? Who are you talking about?
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of. Yeah,
he's miles apart a better player.
Thank you.
I think the biggest problem too, also with Ingram, is that contract. You are essentially going to have to trade for a dude who's only up for a year.
Right.
If you're going to make one of these moves to one of these players, like, again, I'm not even saying the Pistons have a chance, but let's say in whatever world, because we just heard the Nets say they're thinking about a rebuild that may cost them a Mikal Bridges or whoever else. He got 2 years left on his deal. I know people are split on Kyle Kuzma, but again, for the sake of conversation, 2 years on his deal. So if you make a deal like that, you can't rely and hope that one season will allure a Brandon Ingram to want to stay here and be happy, stomaching this rebuild, essentially with the possibility that you being under 30 wins again next season.
Right.
So, I feel like that would just be too much. And while, again, the skill set is undeniable, but just that contract bothers me in terms of what you would have to give up to get him.
Right.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah,
because I'm hearing a lot of, a pick in Duren or a pick in Ivey just for starters with any trade. So,
And who knows what that can be in 3 years, right?
Right. Exactly. Like we just talked about, 100%. Right. Yeah. Not doing it. What about you, King?
Yeah, I'm going to trust the trajectory of those young fellas. That's what I'm going to do.
Let me ask you guys a question. Go ahead, King. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was done.
Okay, so Fred Vinson, right? Who do you guys think or project he will have the biggest impact on this upcoming season from a shooting standpoint?
I'm gonna say our guy. I'm gonna say Cade.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Cade.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he'll put a little bit more lift into that jump shot, man. A little bit more arc into that jump shot.
Okay.
Because at times, I've noticed just watching, like I'll say to myself, like, man, that jump shot just need a little bit more arc on it, man. It's a little flat, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think he'll benefit from it the most. Cade's base is just fine, but I think he'll put a little bit more arc on that shot.
Okay. Even what you think, bro?
Man, I swear, bro. I remember the first time watching this dude King, man, and just agreeing with everything he was saying. And hoping I could sit on this platform because it would be hilarious to watch us agree on stuff. I agree with everything you just said, bro. I was literally about to pick Cade Cunningham, and I don't only think it's going to translate back to that jump shot. Again, I remember seeing how pure it looked in the lift he was getting in college, and since the pros, it seemed like it's becoming lower and lower and lower. I think that's going to translate with his finishing as well. I'm tired of seeing Cade using layups to finish at the rim. Bro, go dunk the ball. Go put it on somebody's head. Pause. But, like, go be the 6'7" point guard that you are. And I feel like if he gets that lift in his jumper, he's going to have that aggression finishing towards the rim, which we saw him kind of, I don't want to say take a step back, but he was just getting more attention. So, unfortunately, the numbers show that it looked like he struggled. But I feel like that's going to translate. I feel like he's going to have a huge impact on that. To me, honestly, I don't even want – like, I know Asar is somebody that people pay attention to a lot with that. I think he's going to be a long-term project in terms of what his shooting is. I don't think that needs to be his immediate focus right now. Like, would it help? Sure. But if Asar can put 2 feet in the paint and find a way to shoot and put a mid-range together, which we saw last season, that's more dangerous right now than, okay, let me stand in this corner and figure out how to knock this down. Like, I don't want to see that be his focus. So I feel like he's the long term. I feel like Cade and maybe Ivey will be the immediates right now for what we see.
King,
man! What a guest to have, boy. That's why I was so excited about this one, man.
Yeah,
I listen, man.
Great minds.
This man be spitting. Y'all just don't. Yeah. Y'all don't, man.
Yeah.
Listen, same. I totally agree with the Asar. What he said about Asar. Now, let's talk Ivey, right?
Okay.
I think there's some tweaking to that form that needs to happen with Ivey. Ivey, the way he brings the ball up bothers me.
I agree.
On into the jump shot. So, like I said, going out and get a big-time guy like that, man, it's going to help everybody. Let's just be honest about it. It's going to help everybody on the team. But that backcourt, for me, is numero uno when it comes to that. Those guys, I mean, you see Ivey right now. He's working hard on his game. He's with little bro, also working. But I want to see that jump shot become a little bit more relaxed, a little bit less twingy. It helps him out. It helps his game out. You know what I'm saying? If he's consistent from out there, I mean, come on. Everything else is just butter. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead, Eric. You got something.
Yeah, another popular name that people keep talking about in free agency is Malik Monk. And to me, the hire of Fred Vinson is another reason I don't want to add a guy like him. Because if the development is right with a guy like Vinson for somebody like Ivey, I agree with you as well. Like, I feel like he needs to be a little bit more raised up with his form instead of – it seems like he kind of comes low a little bit sometimes and has to raise. So if he can work on that and find a comfort zone, you don't need to bank on somebody like Malik Monk, who, like we keep talking about, he gonna come in here and see, I got 30 shots in me. There's a lot of J.R. Smith in his game, and you don't need to be adding that to a young team like this. Very talented dude, but I'm not trying to see guys like that disrupt the development that you can see with Ivey under a guy like Fred Vinson. I'm telling you, that is a huge acquisition bringing him in.
Man, I look at what he did with Lonzo Ball's jumper, bro.
Yes.
And we're not talking nowhere near that with Jaden Ivey. You know what I mean? Right. It's a small tweak. Right. He brought it way over here and came across way over here. To see how it is transformed now, well, hopefully he comes back. But see how he was with Chicago, it's like night and day. And so Fred Vinson's really big on balance. Really big on balance. That's like one of his hallmarks that he focuses on all the time. That's what helped Brandon Ingram's jumper. So just getting that balance too, along with it, is really going to help, I think, Jaden Ivey's game. And I think the quality of shots, too. That's one thing I think that gets missed, too, is that shooting coaches can help with the quality of shots once they learn where you shoot best. When they learn where you shoot best, then they can help you focus on those areas. and then branch out slowly so you're not just all over the place taking bad shots. You know what I mean? So I really am looking forward to see how he really develops those two as far as playing off each other and then making sure that these guys are getting quality shots where they like the ball and things like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Like I said, with Ivy having long arms, it's important for him to get that raise that he needs to shoot in front of his face. Because I work with my son so much on this jump shot, man. I'm just sitting here thinking about it. But when it comes to our backcourt, when it comes to what we're trying to add to this team, Malik Monk, I'm past that. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely past that. And this is a relative of, my wife's side of the family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Got to get in trouble over there.
Right. But I'm past that. At one point, yeah, but now it's like, no, let's move forward, man. So, man, I think we covered a lot. Is there any other things that you wanted to cover, Deuce, or is there anything that you want to add, Eric? Something that you wanted to talk about? Anything?
Fans, I know it's hard. Again, I know where I'm at, and I know this has to be amplified. I know it's hard, but patience has to be expressed as much as possible on this, man. Like, again,
thank you, bro.
Not easy. I understand the frustration. It's clear. It's valid, but we're gonna have to take some closer looks at things in terms of what we're looking for in the development of this team. Like, I feel like what we're seeing here with the moves that they're making, it looks like they're trying to focus on solidifying Cade's stardom. Like, if you want them to all to develop, but he is still their most important piece. And I think bringing in someone like Vincent and even honestly, even keeping Monty Williams around. Granted, I feel like he was terrible last season, but I don't think bringing in another new coach for Cade Cunningham is really the smartest idea right now. So if their focus is on maximizing his stardom, I think you're going to see that growth. If he stays healthy, if the team stays healthy, which they didn't last season, you'll see some growth in the right direction. We just got to fight it in the right places, but be patient as it happens. Just give it some time.
Yeah. And, like you said, I really hope Trajan, builds out this roster that plays to their strengths, man. I'm really am looking forward to that. And like I said before, I really hope that part of the conversation with Monty and Trajan was playing these two guys together, man. I don't want to see no Jaden Ivey on the bench. I don't want to see any more of that this year. None. No more games. That's over and done with. Like, stop. No. Let's. We tried it. It didn't work. He admitted it. So let's move on. Let's get these guys as much time as possible on the court. That's, for me, is the most important thing. And off the court. We always talk about Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars, how they would have conversations about how to defend Michael Jordan off the court for hours, right? So they were just crazy with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they got to do that, but I want them to develop. I want them to know each other off the court, so that way that'll kind of transform into the court. It needs to happen that way. That's how it's always happened that way with Rip Hamilton and Chauncey. It's the same thing. It has to happen organically. You can't rush it, and you got to just let it build out. And you got to take your lumps with it. It's going to be peaks and valleys like it was last season. But at least they'll be able to learn from those things because they'll have played through them together.
Yeah. All right, so it just wouldn't be a show if I didn't, right?
Oh, boy.
Eric.
What up?
Don't do it.
Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
So, 11:30 tonight.
Oh my God!
We said 10:30, 11:30.
Dude, you my guy, man.
Hey, I think my internet is cutting out.
Hello.
As soon as I heard Deuce you my guy, I'm like, oh boy.
It's only one MJ, man. But I gotta be honest, man. Look, granted, while I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, I don't care for a lot of what's happened in his career. I do respect his greatness, and I do think the argument is there. I do think we're seeing King. I see what you post all the time. I love the contrast and styles between the Jordan era and we see in the LeBron era. I can't take away what he's done. I really can't. I think he does have an argument, but if you're asking me whose career I respect more, I would have to go with Jordan personally. That's just me, myself.
Hey, man, there is, like I always say, as far as I'm concerned, and people might not agree, I don't think there is a right or wrong answer. I just think I have my answer. You know what I mean? And you have yours. But yeah, I definitely think it's a debate. Let me ask you this. Do you think there's anything he can do to make it even more of a conversation?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not like, I don't like the whole, it's Jordan and it's not close, or he has no chance to get. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Like Brian, we see this dude playing at a peak level that we don't see. And again, I put a lot of value in the postseason, but I'm not one of these people that writes off the regular season either. Like playing 80-some games, especially how Jordan did, where they weren't missing a lot of games, or even what Brian is doing now. Like I think that gets devalued a lot. Like especially in football, like people put so much value in the Super Bowl. Like, bro, that's one game.
Right.
16 they did before that. So I give a lot of credit for the regular season. And yeah, I think if Brian maybe wins another MVP, somehow gets a ring, with the dysfunctional rosters he be having in LA, it happen. I don't know. I can't take that away from him if it makes it happen. But yeah, I'm not going to slam the door until he retires. No, I think it's an argument to be had.
So real quick, Eric, as you were enunciating every syllable, I saw a huge nose flare, and it looked like King was mentally judo chopping air. It was hilarious.
No, this is the most Batman begging for help conversation I ever heard in my life. LeBron put those teams together. He's the worst Laker.
Bro, we're not okay. Look, the Westbrook one, yes.
Anyways,
but that's it.
Anyway,
but that's Eric. Look, Eric is the voice of reason here because we both so far on the opposite side of the spectrum. We got to listen to this man. So, anything else you want to say?
I'm happy to be the moderator for this.
Bro.
I know this is an everyday thing with y'all. We get y'all. I'm sure it gets worse than what this is. I know.
See, y'all only see this,
right?
Like y'all don't see us going at each. Yeah, it's worse off screen.
I know y'all go back and forth.
Man,
I know it.
Man,
let's not.
I'll be like, let's see how he do that. He bring it up and then just dip out.
Look, I just wanted to give a little taste. That's all, man. Because we'll be going for 2 hours sitting over here talking.
We have.
Right.
So we probably will again too.
Yeah, right. Let's go more.
Go ahead.
Let's go more modern. Since we got you here, Eric, I want to ask some questions and some of your thoughts and selections. You are the guest of the show, right?
Yes, sir.
Most important Pistons on that 2000. Most important Piston on that 2014.
Most important.
This is going to hurt
my homeboy about this a lot.
That's a great question.
I might make some people mad on this one, man.
I
feel like the most important Piston was Chauncey, bro.
Okay.
I don't like. A lot of people say it was Ben. A lot of people say that even because he was the face of the team for sure. Fear the Fro, the Gong, all that. Like that's undeniable. But we still saw the Pistons find some success after Ben. They didn't get back to the ship, but they were still a 60+ win team. They were scoring a lot more. Chauncey was, going off. Chauncey was the first guy. We see people with the running gun 3-pointer now. Chauncey was the OG of that, for those who remember. So,
Facts.
He was so stable, bro, with his ability to command the offense in the half court, when he was backing people down in the post. He wasn't turning the ball over a lot. And when they turned the franchise over to Stuckey, that's when everything dropped down. And I don't know. I just feel like that veteran leadership of Chauncey was unmatched. Like we saw other guys, do good things defensively on the team. Look, granted, no one was like Ben. Ben's the GOAT defensively to me. I don't care what nobody say. But something about Chauncey's stability at that point guard just always made me think that they had a chance to come back. Hence the nickname Mr. Big Shot. I gotta go with Chauncey in that argument.
Okay. That's a great argument for that argument.
I go
what you got.
I go back and forth with this, mentally, right? Because everything that you just said about Chauncey is valid. But then on the Ben side of the argument, the Pistons hung their hat on what? Defense. They known for, holding teams 60-something points, you know what I'm saying? A lot of that had to do with that big man that was the big little man.
Right.
That was in the middle. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The force of that defense, man. The one that got everything going on that defense. The heart and soul of the team. So that's my argument.
Get him out, bro. Get him out here. Come on now.
We got some friendly trolls in here.
So just as much as Chauncey orchestrated the team, got everything had everything organized, right? Everybody was where they supposed to be. I feel like Ben did the same with electrifying that team with defense and being contagious defensively. So I can't pick one. I never could pick one between the two. I am at a split with those guys because they are just as much as important. I would not have been mad if both of those guys hoisted that MVP trophy together, because, like I said, their roles are unmatched on this team. It's just the same on offense as it is on defense. You're not good without either one of them. You'll probably make the playoffs, but I'm talking about the Pistons to our standards. That team is not functioning right without neither one of them guys. So always wanted to ask that, man. Deuce, what do you feel? Do you have a definitive guy?
So I was thinking about it as you guys were answering. Yeah, that's hard, man. Chauncey is such a great answer because he was the general, man. Like on and off the court, he was the leader, especially in the locker room. He was the leader of that team. For me, I would have to say it like this, and I'm not trying to cop out. I would say overall, I would probably say for that contending team, for that stretch that they had, I would probably say it was Chauncey. But I would also say the Pistons I think Ben was more important for them winning a championship. Because of that match, because they could guard Shaq straight up. Because he allowed them to guard Shaq, I think that was the biggest difference in that overall series. Because you look at the other teams that the Lakers beat before then, they beat the Pacers. He dominated Rick Smits. The Sixers, he dominated Mutombo. The Nets, he dominated McCullough. Like it was ridiculous, averaging like close to 40 points in one of those series. Against the Pistons, they didn't have to double. Hence, the triangle offense was rendered useless a lot of time. You know what I mean? So I think in that series, he was the most important reason that they won. I think he actually should have won MVP of the finals because of that. I'm not mad at Chauncey. I'm glad he got it. But I think overall, I would say like for the era, Chauncey. But for that championship, I would say Ben. I think Ben was less replaceable, harder to replace in that series than a Chauncey Billups would be in that series. I think if you put a J Kidd there or somebody like that, maybe you still have the same result. But if you put a Mutombo there instead of a Ben Wallace,
right?
You see what I'm saying? So that's probably the best way I could answer it. Is just it depends on the time frame.
That comment that just came up was so perfect, though. And I'm so blessed and happy that I got to see this team, not just because it was my first championship, but the true balance of an actual team. You literally can make an argument for any of those five. And I promise you I would. If someone told me Rip, I would hear them out and it would probably make sense. Like for me, bro, we just saw Draymond and Rasheed go back and forth. And people are sitting up here acting like, oh, well, it's Golden State. It's a wash. Yeah. Bruh, I'm telling you, I don't care what nobody say.
Man.
Homer aside, you call me whatever you want. I watched this team. They given that Warriors team a run, bro. And if you
absolutely
7, it's not a hot take. It's not a hot take, and it's not a bad take.
Right.
Tayshaun's ability to defend how he did, taking out guys like T-Mac, limiting Kobe, and then having depth around to slow those guys around. And I'm telling you, Steph is not guarding and running around with Rip Hamilton a whole game.
He's not
posted up and surviving and scoring against Chauncey when you got to go defend him. Like he's fouling out at least 2-3 of those games. I promise you. So that team was so special, and anybody who got to watch them consider yourself blessed. That 04 team was iconic.
That is a great point you made with Rip, because he was known to be one of the fittest players in the NBA.
Yeah.
So even him, I'm okay with him even guarding Steph, because he's doing what he on offense. He would just be doing on defense what he does on offense.
Right.
Running around screens.
Well, it's just like what Eric said. He was underrated defender too, man.
Yeah, he was.
Like I said, he know how to use that, the length for what he has. You know, he knows how to use that, man. And then you look at it, you know, you keep hearing the arguments about points, man. Listen, man, the Pistons didn't have to score those points because they weren't allowing you to score those points.
Right.
Tayshaun is guarding Kobe, a 6'9" T-Mac. Like, listen, like the caliber of those two players I just named, and you look out on Golden State, like, no, man, it's not the same.
It's not.
It is not the same. And I mean, Ben Wallace and Draymond, you know what I'm saying? Draymond's going to be out at least 2 of those games in that series, bro. Because like I said, he's going to be frustrated. You know, Ben is cock strong. We talking about a man who's defending Shaq.
Yeah,
you know,
he's moving him, bro. He's moving him.
And not only that, and who's going to stop Rasheed Wallace?
We haven't even expanded on Rasheed.
We haven't even gotten to Rasheed, bro.
We haven't even talked about Sheed yet. There's nobody on that roster that can hold him. And we know Rasheed is angry, and you put him on the block, and he sees a mismatch, he's not going to play around with it. He's going at Draymond. I don't care how good Draymond think he is. Sheed's wingspan, nothing he can do with it.
No,
nothing.
And Sheed's got a way up here. He's way up here.
Yeah.
He has such a high release. There's no way you're coming close to sniffing
it. and he'll shoot with either hand.
It was unstoppable, bro.
Unstoppable. Right? Who shoot with either hand? Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. No question.
She was
like, what are we talking about, man?
He was like,
I had to get that one. I'm so glad you brought that up, man, because
question. Me and Kim were talking about this too, as far as those teams. Does the 2004 team beat the 2005 Spurs?
The 2004 Pistons beat the 05 Spurs?
Yes.
If they would have kept that roster the same.
If they would have kept that roster together.
Okay, if they keep the roster the same. Yeah, man. I don't see why not. I think it's a better matchup. I think it's a better series than what the Lakers did, because this is another part that people don't think about, even with, because we keep flipping back, but even with the Golden State thing, what broke them up? Their like personalities, the emotions of the whole thing. They didn't want to be together no more. And what was the downfall of the Lakers too? The exact same thing. So that window is there. I don't think that's an issue with the Spurs. They're way too mature of a team. Pop's not letting that happen. Everybody knew they roll. That's a series that's going 7. And yeah, I mean, I would pick the Pistons, but I wouldn't be mad if nobody picked the Spurs either. That's a great technical matchup between two very prepared teams. I would love that.
Yeah. So I would say, oh hell yeah! There's no way that that team loses in 05. The team in 05 had a 7-man rotation. The starters with Lindsey Hunter and McDyess. That was the rotation. We lost, and they're talking about it in the comments too. Everybody is hitting on it. Mike James, Corliss Williamson, remember Okur. Yes, Okur, man. He was a luxury for this team. He didn't even play that much, but he was so skilled, man. Like, he became an all-star with Utah. We talk about it. And I think that lack of depth, we lost by 7 in game 7 on the road. We were down 3-2 on 1 game 6 on the road. You know what I mean? So, like, we just ran out of gas.
Yeah.
And I think not having Mehmet Okur off your bench to give you some scoring, man, like or a Corliss to give you some, like, all those guys, or Lindsey Hunter to give you some more defense. Well, he was already there, but Mike James, to give you more defense, right? Like, we didn't have any of that. So I think that team, I think we would have beat them. I think we were better than them. I think we should have won in 05. But, you know, I think if Larry Brown doesn't put Tayshaun Prince on Tim Duncan for that 3-4 minute stretch where they scored, that's a different game. But so we should have won that year. So I think most definitely 2004 team, if they stay intact, which we couldn't because we had to pick between Rasheed and Okur. You know what I mean? Because he was a free agent. His rookie contract was over. So we had just won with Rasheed. So we're not going to let him go. But we lost Okur in the process. So I think it was just a timing thing, and we just didn't have the cap to keep everybody. Sucks.
Yeah. Mehmet was nice, man. He was decent. Like, remember, they had, like, you know, the Zeljko Rebrachas, and then Mehmet Okur were doing good things. But then when you add somebody like a Rasheed, you see the level that team goes up to.
Right.
That Wallace times 2 dynamic with the ability to create defensive, lockdown at the paint. And then even when the days where, like, people look at Jalen Duren, he gets a lot of rebounds. Ben was hella active as an offensive rebounder.
Yeah, bro.
Oh my God.
Score, bro. He was very underrated with, we had a lot of bigs like that. I think Ben was one of those best, that great rebounder.
Yes.
Got that, the ability to kind of hold it down in the paint. Like, we had a lot of good rebounders, and I think he was one of the first.
You're right, bro. It was so many plays I can remember where he had 3 or 4 tip outs on one possession.
Yep.
And then we come down and get a 3.
Yep.
And just demoralize them. You know what I mean? Like, all that defense, and we gave up the worst possible result. So, like, you're right about that for sure. I got a couple more what ifs for you guys, and then we can call it.
Okay.
Which Eastern Conference champion opposition was tougher for the Pistons? 04 Pacers or 05 Heat?
For me, it's for me.
Yeah, I know, Ken. You got your. Right. We talked about it. I want to see where Eric's going with it. There's no right or wrong answer, bro.
I think I gotta go with the Pacers because Wade wasn't Wade yet. So
one year later, just 1 year later. It was just one more later.
I still got nightmares. The shot where he threw over his head one, that still gives me nightmares.
Man,
but I'd say the Pacers, just as a team, I would say the Pacers. They were tough. They had a lot of good talent, and they're basically like the great value version of what the Pistons were. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
But, I mean,
100%.
They just had to keep running up against the better matchup. But they were good. I love Jermaine O'Neal's game.
Yes.
Meta World Peace when he wasn't losing his mind. Our test at that time. Jamal Tinsley. Like, they had a lot of great players. Reggie towards the end of his career.
Steven Jackson.
Stacks was a great player at that point. I would probably have to lead to the Pacers. They still had some depth and some dogs.
King?
Yeah, of course, I'm going Pacers.
Yeah, I know.
It was my poor man's Pistons, man. The Pacers, and I hated the Pacers and I hated the Nets. I hated both. I hated both, man. Those were both. Those were those hood rat teams we had to go.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Celtics for me. It was the Celtics. Paul Pierce and Paul Walker, Brock.
Man, God. So,
Yes.
The Pistons, like I said, one thing that doesn't get talked about a lot, man. The Pistons had a heck of a path to go through to get there. You know what I'm saying? As many times as they got there, and like I said, those are some tough teams, man.
It worked, man. It's crazy because I felt like that 04 team, the 04 run, because we played the Nets in the semis and the Patriots in the finals. The Nets took us 7 games, but I felt like Indiana was still better, even though that only went 6. I feel like the games themselves were, because you can have a series go 5 games and they're all close, and have a 7-game series and just blow out. You know what I mean? So I feel like that series was just taxing.
Listen, I was physically tired watching those series.
Watching them, man.
Walked around, jumped up and down, sat down angry. I never did that much movement in my life, man.
Yeah.
And, like I said, at that time, I'm not sure how old you are, Eric, man, but for me and Deuce, at that time, this was around graduation time.
I was
knee deep into playing basketball myself, so the game meant that much more for me then.
Going to school the next day, talking about it, like all that.
Man,
Yeah, I'm 34. I remember being at those who know when Star Theater was still up. And they had Hoop City Grill. Y'all remember Hoop City?
Hoop City Grill. Yeah,
that's where I watched the Tayshaun block, and I will never forget watching them freak out the way they did, bro. Those were some just unbelievable times. Watching them play the back and forth. And people want to be clear. You won't know if you just see the score, but those low-scoring games were fun to watch. It's not like they were just like college basketball where they were just breaking stuff. That defense that they were playing was fun, and the shots that they had to earn. Oh my God, that was such fun basketball to watch.
It was, man, because the offense was atrocious, but the defense was so fun because you could just see it was just chess. Those two teams were so disciplined defensively, man. Their rotations were always crisp. They were always talking. They always had quarterbacks on defense. All that stuff. It was beautiful, man. And it was just like, okay, who's gonna execute better?
Yep.
Yeah.
That really was it. It wasn't about who wanted it more, who can execute better. That literally was it.
And that's my whole point, you know, with the Pistons in general. Even when you talk to the Golden State Pistons thing, first of all, those passing lanes ain't gonna be as open as a lot of those Golden State fans think. You know what I'm saying? Yep. The offense was not great because both of the teams that we've talking about in these series that the Pistons played, they all are defensive teams. All of them were defensive teams, man.
Right.
So, like I said, that changes everything. You put the Pistons in this era of basketball where you can't touch nobody. Well, that makes the Pistons a lot more offensive.
Ooh, yeah.
There's more pull-ups from Chauncey Billups. There's more shooting for Rip. There's more of, oh my God, Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
In this era, oh my God.
In this era,
man, stop.
He was people hated on Sheet when he said we can play them in either era. He's 100% right.
Yeah, he's
because
right, bro.
You talking about defense, King? There was no switching, bro. They're fighting through screens.
Yeah.
They're not down to stay with their guy. They're not. Oh, okay, you got him. Then I'll go over here.
It's pride.
Still in the corner.
It was pride, bro.
So, bro, I'm telling you, people just look at the names all they want. I'm telling you, the Pistons can get them, bro. As I'm talking to it more,
you see what I'm saying? Yeah. That's why I want to talk it through.
Make KD mad for a couple games. Who knows? He might pout for the other two.
Right.
Right.
And this is funny. Because all I think about on that block, that Reggie Tayshaun block. What a block! What a block!
Unbelievable. To keep it in bounds, let Rip get the free throws off.
It was just so improbable. It was so improbable. The block was like, it was, to me, it was more of a bang bang block than the LeBron Iguodala block. It was more, this one was just like, it was bang bang. Like if the ref called the goaltend, I'm like, all right.
And then to see that Slobo, right. Then to see that he pinned that mug with the
right.
It is the best block of all time.
Exactly, bro. Best block of all time. And I love LeBron, but I think that was the best block of all time, bro. Like it was insane. It kind of happened the same way. It was kind of funny off a turnover, you know, because Chauncey got stripped by Tinsley. It was just crazy, man, how it all happened. But yeah.
Proud after, bro.
Yeah. And then to keep it in bounds and for Rip to track it down. It barely stayed in bounds. Like it was just so many things that was just like, man, that's why that series could have went either way, man. Like we were looking in the mirror. Yeah, we were looking in the mirror for sure. Okay, one more for y'all. 04 Pistons versus the 08 Celtics. Because we caught them in 2008. You know what I mean? When she was gone.
Yep.
Not she. Yeah, she was there. Ben was gone. We had McDyess there, but we didn't have our guys. So we caught. That's why we lost in 6 in 2008. But in 2004, it was a little bit different. So who do you think would win that series?
Yeah,
that's a tough one for me. It's a tough one for me.
That would be a battle between Garnett and Rasheed. That'd be a battle, man. Which you know, growing up, I've seen them two battle, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I obviously embarrassed myself showing how much of a Timberwolves fan I was. Right?
Right, for sure.
I was the biggest Kevin Garnett fan that you could find.
You too? Okay.
I had his old throwback with the green and the blue.
The green and bluish. Yeah.
Bro, I was the biggest KG fan. Love me some big ticket, bro.
Man. Yeah, monster.
That's
a tough one, ain't it? That's a tough one.
Yeah. I want to answer though.
Okay, take your time. Ken, what you think? You still thinking?
I'm still going with, man. I'm going with the Pistons, bro. Okay. Ray John, good on defense. You know, not a guy that's gonna score a lot, but he's Chauncey without the shooting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
obviously I gotta give one attribute lead to Chauncey because Chauncey's still gonna put Ray John on that box.
Okay, so hold up. But I will give the edge defensively to Ray John for sure.
You think he's better defender?
I think he's a better defender. Yeah, I think he's a better defender than Chauncey. I do.
Was he a better defender at that point though? Because we saw Rondo get better.
Okay.
The big three got worse.
Okay. That's a good point.
A few years later, I think Chauncey eats his lunch, bro.
Good point. No, you're right. Yeah, I think in 2008, because it was the big three. It was before it was a big four. You're right.
Yeah, he wasn't who he was like a few years after that. And
Good
then
point.
what is Perkins doing with anybody? I don't.
I was waiting for it,
bro.
Bill Wallace against Sheed, nah, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna get the Pistons in 6.
They gonna run circles around this man, bro.
No cap, bro.
And you have to put Tayshaun on Pierce.
On Paul Pierce.
Irritate him.
That'll be good.
Yeah, and you know what?
Yeah.
To be fair, Paul Pierce is really good, man. I can't stand.
Oh, yeah.
I can't stand Paul Pierce. I cannot stand Paul Pierce. I can't stand him as a player when he played. I can't stand him as a commentator. Anything. Like I just don't like Paul Pierce, bro. He's annoying to me.
Listen,
but
he
could hoop, bro.
Listen,
and when because we played them, we played Boston. Early in our wait, when did we play them? Other than was it just 08? I think it was maybe it was. He gave Tayshaun problems. I remember that series. He gave him problems, bro. Like Tayshaun was doing everything he could. He was playing great defense, but Pierce, he was too. I think he was a little bit too big because he was very physical with Tayshaun, and he made it hard. He was getting Tayshaun in foul trouble often. You know what I mean? So that would be where I was concerned. But I mean, there's not many guys I would want other than Tayshaun to guard him. It's just like at that point, Paul Pierce is hard to stop.
Yeah, Paul Pierce is a problem.
Yeah, he was a problem.
Yeah, he's the truth for a reason.
Yeah.
They can give him a few buckets though. Again,
yeah,
right.
they use that length.
Good point.
Especially that post hook.
Yes. Yeah. He's got to go at him. You're right.
Like
got to make him work.
Have more advantages. Like if you like Ray Allen may be a better player, but Rip can kind of do just about what he was doing at that point. So that's kind of a draw.
At that point, you're right again. So, timing wise, you're right.
Yeah, I think Sheed what's KG you can look at as a draw, but
then,
Chauncey, that's the advantage. Ben's the advantage, and I think Tayshaun offensively over Pierce is an advantage. Plus they bench.
I was gonna say let's talk benches from what we can remember. So you got at that point, I think you have Big Baby. I think you also have Tony Allen, who was a great defender.
Yep.
Who else do you have? I think you have Brandon Bass.
Yeah, I think
it's not close.
Posey.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're better. Yeah, our bench is better.
Yeah, Corliss is not getting stopped.
No.
Bro, I was just about to say, you talk about Big Baby, bro. We got Corliss.
Bro, I'm giving O'Court a green light, bro. Yeah. I'm giving him the green light.
Yeah.
Get up 10 shots a game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Off the bench. For sure.
Yeah. And they got Tony Allen. We got two.
We got
times 10 Tony Allen.
Yeah. We got two of them. Good point. Yeah, you're right. We probably would get them. We took them.
Telling you this because of the second finals of how it turned out. If they win that, they get even more revered than what they are. We know what they are, but around the league, I think
I agree. Yeah, this is funny. Oh, cool, and it's not even a question. That's probably Marvin just trolling. Well, yeah, that's not even a question. Oh, cool is taking his lunch, bro. Yeah.
Was
that's
nice.
not even.
Yeah,
he was very nice, bro. I remember, I'll never forget when we let him go in the offseason. I think it was the very next year. We lost to Utah by 1 point. It was a chase down block. O'Court chased down Rip Hamilton's layup, and they won the game, bro. Yep. You remember that game?
I do.
I was like, "Are you kidding me, bro?" And that was the year he won. That was the year he was an All-Star. And they were just
every time somebody leave here, they find some type of way to burn us, bro.
Which is why we're not punting on these young guys, right?
Don't give them no extra.
We can end it with that. We can end it on that note, man. Yeah, man. Anything else you want to hit on, King?
Man, I think we pretty much hit it, man.
Yeah.
This was definitely a fun one.
This is fun. This is fun, man.
Totally appreciate you for stopping by, Eric, man. You got to definitely come by more often.
For sure.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Yeah. Like I said, we got a busy summer coming up. A lot of things changing. You know, I'm here whenever y'all want, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all doing great things. I'm so proud of y'all, man. I love watching y'all do what you do.
Thank you, bro. We appreciate you, man. You got anything you want to talk about? I mean, we know you on the radio and everything. Now 1270, talk about it. Come on now. Come on now.
They gave me a key card. Check me out, AM 1270 Sports Rap Radio, the very first all African American sports radio station in American history. And it's started here in Detroit, man. It's so cool being a part of that. It's so cool being building that history up. And we're gonna find a way to get you guys involved, man, because we are the backbone to build this thing up. And I think you guys will be super, super helpful with it too, man. So check me out every Sunday, 10 to 12 in the morning. Write-ups and clutch points coming up.
Yes,
I'm gonna try to
sir.
stay busy, man. I'm gonna try to do what I can. Trying to stay up in this rank, man. Do what I can.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man. Oh, go ahead, King.
No, also while you at it, man, just go ahead and shout out your social media links for everybody who don't know.
For sure.
I am Eric Vincent at everything. You see it right here. Hit me up on my YouTube page, Top Title Sports. Holla at me, man. I'm everywhere. You know.
Yeah, he fired with that pen. You know, I'm talking music too, but he fired with that pen. This story, y'all gotta check his stories out, man. He's got some really insightful stuff, man. Well put together stuff, bro. I check out all the stories, and they all top shelf. So go check them out, man. He working.
Appreciate you, Deuce, man. Thank you, bro.
Absolutely, bro. You already know, man. Appreciate you coming on with us, man.
No
So
problem.
we're gonna call it, y'all. We're gonna call it per use. We appreciate, as always, y'all showing up and showing out. We had a lot of faces popping on the night. This was great, man, and got a chance to talk about a lot of different things. And just be patient, man. Mm-hmm. Just be patient. For those of y'all seeing Dream Girls, oh, patience, little brother.
Let's go.
Patience, yeah. Patience, man. Just give it time.
So light. Yeah.
That's okay. So light skin. You know how to do it, bro.
Yeah, that's
had to do it, man. Had to do it. All right, we out of here, y'all. We will catch y'all on Thursday. Everybody have a great night. Detroit versus everybody.
Happy Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, baby.